Here is a spacious land for spacious living, a land of rolling plain, sharp-drawn contour and clear colour, in its seasons, miserly in its giving to those who use it unwisely, and rich to prodigality in favours to those who know and understand the Australia Outback, cattle country. Set sturdily on warm plains below the tabletop hills is the hospitable Tyon homestead. Well indeed may this station symbolize Australia Outback, for it lies some 200 miles from Oodnadatta, bordering the Never Never Land of the Northern Territory. We find the cook, camp attendants and stockmen busily preparing to set out on a beef muster. Not the least of the equipment is the inevitable tomato sauce and golden syrup, the dead horse and cockie's joy, without which no bush cook would consider himself. In a country like this, the pack horse still holds pride of place. Much care and attention is paid to his equipment in order that he may be able to carry heavy loads over long distances. The saddle horses provide some lively interludes at the beginning of the trip. Fierce as these mounts may seem, Australians Outback will assure you that their antics are merely high spirits and that all they need is a little gentling. A temperamental type gives some idea of the scope of the station smithy's job. Putting cold shoes on a fractious horse often requires some gentle suasion with the aid of a well-tied rope and a pair of hobbles. Our station saddler, too, has a full-time job on his hands. He must keep equipment in first-class repair at all times. Hardy men, these Australians Outback, but with a sense of fun and relaxation, utterly unjaded by artificial entertainment. But fun finishes quickly when the head stockman's time to ride again. What could be more entertaining than the glorious free vistas which unfold as the cattlemen ride away on the job again? Away they go in search of the elusive scrubbers, the real bush cattle who missed the last muster in some hidden fastness of this limitless land. What a picture these horsemen make as they climb up their vantage point against the skyline, where country to search is allotted to each man. At the day's end, each group of stockmen brings in the cattle they've mustered, which are held in a quiet valley until after about 5 days the required quota of cattle to be trucked is reached. Cattle brandage is the site of strenuous work, dust and much noise from man and beast. In Australia, we call a mob of horses to be used on our droving trip the plant. With one stockman riding in front to point the herd, they commence the 10 days' journey to the trucking yards at Abminga siding. Approaching one of the few surface water holes, we glimpsed a pair of emus with 2 chicks. A stockman was able to catch them for us to inspect more closely. we see another typical Australian taking advantage of the green grass and shady trees. They speed away in their inimitable manner as the herd approaches. The cattle take full advantage of the rare luxury of standing in the water after quenching their thirst. The horses, too, enjoy the cooling waters and show their hardy breed in a little horseplay of their own at the day's end. While the quart pot boils, the cook mixes up a batch of damper, the bushman's bread, baked in the camp oven, buried in hot embers. And after 1¼ hours, here is the tempting result, ready for the hungry men riding into camp. The cattle are bedded down for the night, a ticklish business sometimes, but when the cattle are handled by experienced men, it can be a very reposeful affair. Quiet and ruminant, the mob settle in for a night under the Australian sky. Stockmen keep vigil, each of whom take a 2-hour shift, circling the herd and singing throughout the night. The rest of the men enjoy a smoke and perhaps a song around the campfire before rolling up their swags for a well-earned sleep.
Down by a water so can try and get some rest. Dry sandy flats and mulga scrub, north, south, east and west. And the cook calls, come and get it, oh, we sure have longed for grub. It's bully beef down with sandy tea and a battered old tin mug. Oh, the boss picks out the night guard, take orders without heed. Oh, sleep with one eye open in case of a...
The herd moves slowly along on its journey under the ceaseless care of the stockmen on their alert, intelligent horses. Life-giving water must be maintained in good supply, and drover must sometimes turn steeplejack to climb a windmill tower and mend the machinery that keeps the water flowing. As the windmill begins turning again, the water flows into the empty trough. The thirsty cattle, having travelled 2 days without a drink, break into a run as they scent the water. And so the drover wends his way onward through the Outback in the consciousness of an exacting job drawing to a close, alive in his own quiet way to the beauties which surround him, and ever ready to defend the bush way of life from ignorant detractors. And so to the cutting-out camp at Apminga Siding. Fast work for sure-footed horses is the order of the day here. Up the long chutes to the trucks that spell journey's end for the stockmen and horses, if not for the cattle. Blunt poles are used to keep them on the move. Spirits are high now, and horseplay, or should we say cowplay, is well and truly in order. Thrills and spills in the yards are a welcome relaxation, a hard game for men who live hard.